Good afternoon. Welcome to Raiffeisen stage. I have to say I really miss seeing the faces while I'm presenting. It somehow always gives me the direction whether the information I'm sharing with you is something that you need and something that is valuable. But I do hope that you will also appreciate this format and find some good insights for you to use on your working. So basically, the focus of my presentation today is what is really happening behind the curtains. What is behind this huge buzzword around open banking? What is happening in one organization, and what does it take for one organization to move from PSD2 as pure regulation all the way to, let's say, having a group API marketplace and dealing with open APIs and open banking is one of the key strategic topics for future. My name is Tanja Imamovic. I will share with you our journey in Raiffeisen Group, and hopefully you will be able to learn something from our mistakes. Next slide, please. So before I start to talk about open banking, I want to share something about our group, who we are. So Raiffeisen Bank International is serving more than 16 million customers. We serve customers from retail and corporate segment, and we are present in 13 CEE markets. This is at the same time one of our biggest challenge and one of our biggest, let's say, advantages. Why? Especially when it comes to open banking, operating in 13 very diverse markets. When we talk about open banking maturity, means that you have to adapt and you have to talk with, at the same time, more mature, more active markets and participants, move them a bit faster, but as well adapt the pace of the group to those let's say, less advanced and less developed markets, at least if we talk about open banking. Also, one of the challenges for us, if you look at this, was the fact that we are present in EU, but also non-EU markets. So this means that while talking about open banking, we have to address the audience that at the same time knows everything about open banking because regulator pushed it, but also some stakeholders that know nothing about open APIs, open banking, PSD2, and are not interested at all. So stay tuned. Next slide, please. Our journey, as I assume with majority of banks in CEE, started with PSD2. So it was really regulator who woke us up. Before that, we did not talk about open APIs. We did not talk about open banking so much. We just did regular banking business, meaning solving problems of our customers via our own direct channels and set of data and services that we can offer. PSD2 started back in 2017. At the time, we were really thinking, how do we approach this? How do we deal now with this new initiative that regulator imposed on us? Do we let our local network banks deal with this? Do we just treat this as one-time thing that we implement in order to be regulatory compliant? Luckily, we were really recognizing that PSD2 APIs and can be something that we can leverage in future in a way that if we start the implementation within the heart of organization, meaning our head office in Vienna, we can learn a lot. And these learnings then we can apply to everything what comes after PSD2 and what is beyond pure regulation. So today, in 2020, we are serving our EU network banks with PSD2 APIs. We are enabling regulatory portals for them, and we are enabling regulatory sandbox for them. I want to share something with you how this journey, let's say, was developing throughout 2 years, 2018 and 2019 mainly. So as maybe some of you know, not every country followed the same deadline. For example, from our EU group of countries, Slovakia and Czech Republic, they had a different deadline that was defined by their own local regulator, and other EU network banks banks like Romania, Hungary, Croatia, they had a deadline in September 2019. This meant that at the same time we had to deliver solution in different pace, and at the same time we had to follow different standards, because even though PSD2 was meant to standardize access of TPPs, actually the standardization was kind of lacking. So in Slovakia and Czech Republic, we were faced with the fact that they do have local standards that we have to follow, and for other European network banks, we implemented Berlin Group standard. And this entire journey really made us aware what is out there in the market, what does it mean to expose data and service to the external companies, how to manage this, and how to operate it. And this was a great platform for us to try to start to understand what is beyond PSD2 and how we tackle this. Next slide, please. Here in this slide, if you look, you see that, and this is the data as of July 2020. You see that currently we have around 400 licensed third-party providers across Europe operating. And if you look at the right part of the slide, you can see our own countries and number of TPPs that are allowed to do some business in those countries. What is quite interesting is the number of TPPs that originated in the country, in, like, for example, Hungary, Czech Republic. We talk only about few of those. In Romania, as of July 2020, there were even 0 TPPs licensed in Romania. If you think about this fact on one side, and if you remember the hype that started around PSD2, maybe back in 2018, you will be aware of a huge gap that was created. So what do I want to say? Back in 2018, everyone were talking about how PSD2 is a huge change for banking industry. It's a big bang. It will, TPPs will take over customers from traditional banks on one side. So we are in danger. And this story created really some kind of negative feelings from many stakeholders within banking group, that even there were some comments like, yeah, we do not want to open up, we do not want to be connected because we are in danger. So there were even some opinions that PSD2 should be implemented just in a way to follow the regulatory and not even be promoted so loudly, because this is something that can, let's say, take away our own business. On the other side, the same let's say, consultant companies were talking about parallel new income sources that open banking can bring. And why am I mentioning all this? Purely because all these three information that I mentioned now, so 402 TPPs, out of those, majority of them focused on UK and Deutschland, Germany, then PSD2 as a threat to banking industry, and then open banking as a huge opportunity for new income generation, created unrealistic and huge expectations from stakeholders. And this then imposed certain issues for all of us dealing with open banking, how to push this topic throughout the group, really. And from my experience, actually, open banking is one of the topics where famous sentence of Bill Gates can be applied. We usually overestimate the impact that is ahead of us in next 2 years and underestimate real impact that will happen in next 10 years. Next slide, please. So what did we do then? I mean, we were in a process of implementing PSD2 APIs. We were in a situation where we talked with our stakeholders, with one group, to make sure that they understand that by providing PSD2 APIs, we will not be in danger, that even opening up can really be an opportunity for us. On the other side, we were dealing with stakeholders who were expecting a huge new business out of pure PSD API, so just the regulatory part. But we were quite determined not to give up. We saw that banking ecosystem has changed, environment has changed completely. Expectations from our customers are being, let's say, created by different players, not only within the banking industry. Challenger banks were dealing with customer problems in completely different ways. So I would say that more than ever, we were determined that the path that we defined was the right one for us and for our group. And we kind of leveraged on the fact that PSD2 as pure regulation gave us enough of attention and resources to explore what is possible when we talk beyond PSD2 and what open API for one banking group should really be. Next slide, please. Also, in order to just, let's say, confirm this feeling that we had from time to time, we are screening the market and trying to understand how things are developing. And if you look at some of the news from this year, at least, you can see that this famous statement from Bill Gates that I mentioned, that we underestimate impact in next 10 years can really be applied. Open banking is being accepted. If you look at UK number of open banking customers, meaning end customers giving the consent to third parties, has the exponential growth in last 6 months. If you look at the flow of the money, where the investments are directed, you can see that those who are aggregating different set of data from customers and those who are capable to manage those data and get some learnings and some new valuable services for customers are the ones getting the investments at the same time. And you can see that challenger banks are using open banking capabilities to even improve services that they offer to their customers. So the underlying message was, yes, it will not be a big bang, but yes, change is happening. So we should not stop now, and we should really proceed and follow the vision. Next slide, please. And on this slide, you can basically see the message that we started to communicate. I think it was more than a year ago to our senior stakeholders. We actually realized after PSD2 was already in production in some of our countries, so this was Czech Republic and Slovakia, we realized that if we want to assure that we build something that is sustainable for our organization and that will not stop only on regulatory part and that will not create unrealistic expectations at the same time, we had to start to talk more about what the purpose of Open API is. So our message was directed in a way that our stakeholders had to understand now a bit better how API economy is developing. What does the value creation mean actually in the world of APIs? So it's not anymore about us as one organization solving the problem with direct maybe application that we will offer to our customers. It's more about the complete concept of one organization exposing its own data and services, and with that move creating a value. And then other organization taking this data and services, incorporating it into its own offering, and with that basically seamlessly kind of creating the ecosystems around our customers that are just improving their journeys and solving their problems. So we kind of changed the approach. We went a little bit from talking about PSD2 as a huge thing, as something that will change the environment, more towards talking about PSD2 APIs being only one area of banking that is regulated, but that our opportunity actually lies in the benefits that API economy is offering, that we should expose our own data and services and create value in that way and create opportunity for our organization to be connected so that we can be part or manage ecosystems around our own customers. Next slide, please. So as you can see on this slide, this is how our vision was defined. It's all about connectivity, openness, and visibility. So we strongly believe that by opening up and connecting, we will discover completely new ways of collaboration with our partners. And in that way, we will enable our organization to be connect everything what is happening around us if we recognize that this can be beneficial for our own customers. We defined our vision in a way that we strongly believe that by managing community, by connecting to external community, by recognizing developers from startups, fintechs, other big corporates that are ready to innovate with us, we can really form and discover new ways of partnerships, and we can innovate in completely different way than we did until now. And then we also defined a third important pillar for our vision, where we said that we should as well enable our organization to enrich our own products and services by bringing new set of data into our organization and by making sure that we are part of the ecosystems around our customers, or that we can manage ecosystem completely. As you can see on this slide, and I would like to underline this once again, so open APIs in Raiffeisen are all about enabling our organization to be connected, open, and visible. And with this, we believe that open innovation will bring us values that we cannot even envision or define by ourselves. Next slide, please. So the entire platform that we are delivering now, where PSD2 APIs are just one of the key streams, product streams, is enabling our other innovation vehicles. This is part of our innovation strategy. Open APIs and the platform that we are building is supposed to support Elevator Lab, our accelerator program for fintechs, Innovation Garden, our internal innovation program for our own employees, where they can learn how to discover, develop, and solve problems in different ways, and Innovation Lab, our own playground for innovation and new services. Next slide, please. So where we are today. Basically, we are developing capabilities across the group. Here on this slide, you can see some of the services already available or in planning, and this is something that is changing really often. So we are building and providing capabilities from, let's say, the general ones, like informations about locations, all the way to enabling product initiation. And already now we are working on beyond banking services that can help our customers get some benefits for them. Here in this slide, I would like to really emphasize that our organization is not following by default principle of standardization and reusability. We do believe that reusability and standardization is really important for the entire organization to move forward. However, we will not impose this as a rule for everything that is being built in a group. We saw from the past few years that some of the capabilities are really meant only for one or another market, because as I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, we serve 13 European markets with completely different speed of development and maturity of open banking. So our core principle is adaptivity and really building capabilities that our external partners, fintechs, startups, and other corporates need. Next slide, please. So the entire story around open APIs in Raiffeisen Banking Group is, I would even say, summarized with our latest product. This is RBI API Marketplace. This is the product that was launched a week ago, and this is the product where we, as Raiffeisen Bank International, are connecting different API providers, mainly our network bank as of today, tomorrow, let's see, to all the external partners who are interested to innovate together with us, to bring some new value to one of our 16 million customers, and maybe to bring some new services into one of those 13 markets that I was mentioning. Our marketplace is completely developed and dedicated to serve developers. We do understand that for developers, it's all about easy access and how fast they can integrate set of data into their own services. Via our marketplace, developers can access Sandbox, but RBI Group API Marketplace is not only for developers. We are really trying to serve all those people working in business development area, trying to find something new from financial services that could enrich their own product. So each of our API is explained and described in a way that also business persona can understand what is hidden behind it. We are very, very proud on this. The product itself, it's not about complexity of the product, it's about complexity of all the effort behind that we had to do in order to make sure that our organization is ready to invest into a product like API Marketplace. And this is really for us internally proof that all the steps that we did in past 2 years were successful and are leading us to the right path. Next slide. At the end, I would like to emphasize and talk a little bit more about what does it mean to manage community and share knowledge when we talk about topic as open APIs or open banking is in one traditional banking group. So we have to be aware that maybe my team and then few other people in each of the organization know really what open APIs are. But when you start to deal with this topic, there is such a huge community around us that we had to kind of tackle somehow. So we invested a lot of effort into sharing the knowledge, explaining our vision, trying to connect our vision with business strategy of our counterparts. So we do this via many channels. We have continuous newsletters, blogs. We are organizing and participating in multiple events and hackathons. And this is the way how we, let's say, engage not only with external communities may be even more ready, but for us it's really important that we bring the entire set of our colleagues, so meaning the entire organization, on a spot where they understand the concept behind APIs and how this can benefit their own strategy. So the message from me is really do not underestimate what we call in this traditional banking world stakeholder management, but actually it's all community. This is where the power lies. Next slide, please. What are our learnings? Here I try to summarize some of the most important moments that I would like to share with you as something that we learned and helped us a lot. First of all, Open API is a product. It's not only about technology, it's really about managing this data and service that you expose via an Open API as a business product. You have to manage the users, you have to manage development, operations, so do not underestimate the importance of this during your journey. Then mindset and education are crucial. This is what I mentioned a few minutes ago. So you have to understand that broader audience within your organization is not so introduced into what open APIs are. So here you talk about the topic that is really transformational, and you should not underestimate this. We, as of today, are investing sometimes even more effort into community education, awareness building than development itself. This only shows how important this area is as well. Heartbeat of our group, this was really important. I mentioned to you that we have 13 markets, so our systems are not connected. So the main question and learning for us throughout these past 2 years was how to be part of connected economy when you have disconnected systems. And this is the moment where I mentioned to you that we do not follow blindly concept of reuse and standardization. Sometimes we really listen when something is meant to be local, we just leave it as it is. Be adaptive. Be adaptive is really huge moment for dealing with this topic. Simply we manage our delivery, KPIs, expectations in a way how the market and the group is developing. And at the end, as mentioned, open innovation was one of the crucial points for us. We really believe that Raiffeisen being connected, being able to connect, be visible, will lead us towards open innovation and bring new benefits to our own customers. Next slide, please. This is basically it from my side. I would like to invite you to register to our group API marketplace. This is the portal via which you have the insights into the capabilities that we offer across our group, across 13 different markets. If you are developing, you can access the representatives. You can really start to talk. I would like to invite you to register to our OPI Day on 10th of December. We will share, let's say, similar set information via one virtual event that will be free, available for everyone. We really want to share what Raiffeisen is working on. We want to share our failures that really made us learn a lot and shape our path and journey. Next slide. Thank you. I'm happy to all of your questions. Usually we would probably have some kind of interactive session, but yeah, we live in strange times. So looking forward to all of you and your questions.
Tanya, thank you very much. That was really interesting. We now have about 10 minutes for Q&A. If you're listening in, please do send the questions through the platform. I'll try and pick up as many of them as I can and make sure I address them to Tanya. So please do file them, send them in, and we'll get to them. So without further ado, I'm going to click to the first one, which I found quite fascinating. Raiffeisen is obviously a huge bank, and this whole open banking business, I'm sure, is having big effects, both from a technology perspective, but I'd also maybe like to ask about the mindset, because it must be, you know, big banks have legacy systems, everything's a big effort to do anything. How big a change is the mindset, the technology, pulling that all together to really create change around open banking in an organization like yours?
Thank you, David. This is really a really important question for this topic in the banking industry. So if you talk about technology aspect, I mean, technology as such is not new, right? So if you talk with people in IT, they do know what do they talk about when we mention APIs. So for the banking industry, I think that the biggest change was actually in the way how now we as a bank should treat our new products and what does it mean to expose your data services with an API. And we had so many discussions with our stakeholders all the way from senior management. There really we do have the support to push this. Our senior management understands how important it is for us to enable and this openness and to be connected. But when we talk about mindset, I mean, we had so many discussions. I even remember one when one of our colleagues said, but we do not want to be open. We want to stay closed. We want to serve our customers. If we open, what will happen? And then you start, you move from the strategy towards really going back to basics and explaining to people that, okay, if we talk about PSD2, this is regulated part of open banking. And yes, there we have to, of course, provide access to all certified TPPs. But everything beyond that is just giving a huge opportunity to us. It will still be up to our customers to choose us as part of their ecosystems, which is a huge thing. If we are not open, if we are not able to be connected, our customers will simply choose different finance providers. So to answer to your question, from my experience dealing with open banking in a banking group like Raiffeisen is, but also talking with my colleagues from other banks, there is a huge shift needed in a mindset in order for banks to understand what open banking really is about. Once this shift starts to happen, and it can happen from multiple dimensions, I would say. Sometimes the market will simply push the bank and stakeholders to think differently because they will see around themselves that everyone else is acting in a different way. Sometimes you really have strong voice inside the organization to push this and make the change. But the change is needed. I think personally it's even bigger than this technological aspect, because once you recognize what the open banking is about, that you cannot even proceed without being connected and visible, because we talk about new ways of serving our customers, right? Ecosystems are formed around the customers. So you can either prepare yourself to be part of that, or you will simply stay out of the game at a certain point of time. So this is why I also mentioned this in my presentation. For us, really, one significant part of effort is dedicated to this mindset change, internally and externally, not only within the bank, but also when we talk with our customers. Because imagine when we go out and talk with our corporate customers, right? If you are talking with maybe someone who knows exactly that API can solve their problem, it's much easier. But if you talk with their senior management and if you mention an API, then I mean, this is something that they don't even know and don't think about. So yeah, huge thing for all of us dealing with open banking within traditional banking groups is a real change of the mindset in order to support this.
And have you finished that work internally, or is it still ongoing, do you feel, even in your own bank?
Well, we are present on 13 markets, completely different markets when we talk about maturity, especially in the area of open banking. So for us, it's still in the progress. I think what is the most important thing is that the markets which are most active in the area of open banking, like Slovakia, Czech Republic, Romania, here we already have really full attention from the most senior stakeholders. This shows that the change has happened. They are aware that there is a new way to do business, and now we talk about execution. But of course, in some of the markets where maybe PSD2 or a regulator did not push this change, and also we were not so much focused on those markets, now we are starting to engage with them. So the change is, it's a continuous process, right?
Work in progress, as we would say. Okay.
Exactly.
And maybe to tie into that question then, what are you seeing as the main use cases? Because obviously you're looking not just to be a provider of data in terms of you've opened up your own APIs, but you've obviously got the opportunity to use then data from other banks and other parties out in the market. And I wondered what you as a bank are seeing as the best use cases for this data yourself. Is it just aggregation, or is there real stuff around credit scoring? And I just wondered where you as a bank are seeing the greatest opportunity coming in the near future.
Mm-hmm. Actually, for us, our journey kind of was focused from the very beginning on data aggregation. This was something that was, I would even say, more easier for our network banks to process, to understand where the benefits are. So here we are quite mature. We started with account aggregation, but we were quite aware that this will not bring huge benefits neither to the customer nor to the bank. So now we see potential in the PSD2 based loans. This is how we call it. This is basically enhancing our own scoring models with new set of data.
Oh, right.
We see quite interesting use cases in the area of, I mean, I will not call it pure financial management, but really having a broader picture for those who want maybe to manage their financials on the family level or something like that. And this is also with the data aggregation and the fact that we are capable to aggregate accounts from other banks, we are really thinking about some also beyond banking services, starting from the PSD2 as a service. Why not? We do see other companies that are not licensed TPP providers, and they do have a need to also aggregate accounts from multiple banks. If we talk about premium APIs, or what internally we call exposing the data and services toward externals, here we are quite active in area of serving corporate customers with APIs, enabling us to be really part of their journey and their ecosystems. And of course, here there are many benefits in the area of simply offering products via an API, so that we can be connected in different e-commerce platforms, so that we can, of course, improve the way how we sell our own products. So these are the areas now where we are quite engaged. As mentioned, in the area of account aggregation, pure account overview is just the first step. It will not bring you concrete benefits, but now having the access to data is really opening nice playground for banks to offer new services to their clients.
A nice playground, I like that. And I'm just wondering, obviously with COVID happening and everything else, you mentioned the using of the data to enhance your credit scoring. Is COVID driving that forward? Because obviously with COVID, we're seeing a lot more fluctuations in people's income, where maybe traditional credit scoring, looking back, what's gone on previous 12, 24 months isn't as relevant. You need to almost know what's gone on the last 3 months, basically, during this COVID epidemic. Has that been particularly useful for you in terms of being able to still keep, lending efficiently and effectively with a reasonable risk profile then?
COVID is definitely driving all the use cases within open banking forward. The best proof for that is the fact that when the COVID started, as probably many banks, we needed to reprioritize, rethink what is really important for us, for our customers, and for the future. And open banking-based initiatives were marked and still are as a top priority within our bank. This is now something that our customers are demanding from us more and more. As soon as you go out and start to talk with customers from SME segments, from corporate, the feedback that you get is that they need to be served in different ways. So yeah, short answer is yes, it's definitely driving this forward.
And I think that's a great place to end today's session. Thank you very much, Tanya, for a real insight into what it's like in a big bank implementing PSD2 open banking, the issues you're seeing, the cultural aspects, and also where you're seeing such great opportunities. So with that, I'm going to hand back to Kelly, but thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
It's been really appreciated by both me and the audience. We've had lots of feedback. So thank you very much. Kelly, over to you.